All right. So good afternoon. I'm Staff Sergeant Chapman. With me, I have Staff Sergeant Dobbins, Staff Sergeant Carter, and Sergeant Compton. Today, we're just going to be discussing with Benjamin the Green to Gold program, right? I say Benjamin. I don't know why I said that. It's Connor. You go by Benjamin, like nickname. So,
It's all, it's all good. Yeah.
I- um, but yeah, I worked with Connor. One of my duty stations is a great worker. He went to Green Gold program, and he's just here to offer us some insight into what Green to Gold actually provides and offers in terms of benefits and education. So I'll pass it off to you to just do a quick introduction.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, y'all. My name is Connor Phillips, and I'm here to share with you one of the most, I'd say, important decisions I've ever made in my life. Like my journey from enlisted soldier to an aspiring officer through the Green to Gold program.
Awesome. Yeah. So first, like, what did you do? You mentioned you were enlisted. So what did you do prior to? Um,
So, in my 3 years as a military intelligence analyst at Fort Gordon, I embraced the challenges and responsibilities that came with this specific role, utilizing my skills to contribute significantly to whatever missions that came our way. My journey then led me to the specialized section where Sergeant Chapman and I worked together, known as the Army Intelligence Enterprise Digital Theater, otherwise known as AIDIT, where I gained invaluable hands-on experience in project management. I wasn't necessarily the lead project manager, but it was a role that was pivotal as it allowed me to accumulate the necessary hours to apply for and successfully become certified as a project management professional, otherwise known as the PMP certification. It's a certification not only that enhanced my skills, but also prepared me for greater responsibilities within the Army.
Yeah, and did you actually use your project management while you were in? I know when we were working together, you were basically planning and scheduling all of our stuff, and we were all giving you some pushback. So how was that like? What was that experience like? And kind of like shaped and molded you to become, talking with you throughout the time together. You're like, you really once you got into that position of more of like you were leading people well above your you had sergeant first classes that you as a specialist were dictating where they were going, right? So did that kind of play a factor into going green to gold?
Yeah, it was it was an odd position, I want to say. Like not necessarily in a bad way, but it was kind of unorthodox for the Army to allow me like into the position that I was in because of the normal, top-down hierarchy that we follow. And at first it was just I had to get used to it. Like it was really weird trying to tell people in higher ranks above me that um, they had to go and do something specific. It was kind of like a nice analogy. I want to put it as like, when you take your bachelor's degree, you graduate and then you try to get into the Army just by going into the OCS way, which is what I originally tried doing at first. And then you come in as a second lieutenant right from the get-go, without having any enlisted experience. It was kind of like, not having any experience, uh, like to show or talk about with most of, the guys that were like in the 35 Tango section. Like they have all of the knowledge, and like I'm just starting out brand new, so it was really difficult to try to like, acclimate to that at first, but I hit the ground running. And I think this position put me into uh a spot where I just decided that I needed to like enhance my career, enhance my skill set, and that's why I wanted to go green to gold. And like as I was saying, as I advanced in my career, I realized I was ready for new challenges and the greater responsibilities that came with with those high ranking positions. And the decision to transition from green to gold was driven by that desire to expand my impact and leadership capabilities. I saw this as an opportunity to leverage the skills and experience that I had like in the roles prior. Uh, and I just I really thought that the green to gold program was offering me like that way to get the experience that I needed so I could prepare myself not only for my future military career, but that post military career as well too after the army.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that you tried to go to CS. What would be, to a someone on the outside, what would be the benefit of going more the green to go route instead of getting that bachelor's degree first and then enlisting, not enlisting, but commissioning as an officer? What would be, I say like the top two things that you would recommend as to why going green to gold would be more beneficial than just, you know, graduating, coming straight in as a second lieutenant.
That's a really good question. I do not have all the benefits off the top of my head. However, I can say that going OCS would have it would have put me in a position to become an officer right from the get-go, but I would have lacked the enlisted experience that I thought was super crucial in, making the decision that I wanted to eventually go green to gold. Green to gold is the stepping stone that enlisted personnel can take to I guess better themselves for their future and their future armored career because you not only get to uh, go to ROTC and see that side of like in ROTC we do like a bunch of confidence building drills and it's pretty much what ROTC does for you is just it's a confidence builder so you're able to go to camp, you're able to lead and be judged on based off of how well you can lead. But you also get to have the educational experience as well too. So like if you're in my position, I came into the army with a bachelor's degree. I was then able to go and not yet achieve, but work towards getting my master's degree as well too, in business administration, which I know it doesn't translate specifically to the army, and you had to sell why you wanted to go to get the degree that you wanted to pursue. But that sets me up for post-army career as well too, in the long run.
Yeah. And so what's like what's your what was the process of becoming green to gold? Like was it just like I know there was a packet, but and you don't have to go super in depth, just kind of like a quick overview of like, what the process is.
Okay,
Kind of
so
alleviate the concern of like, oh, it's a super in depth process and only a certain amount of people get selected. I know only a certain amount of people do get selected, but
yeah,
just kind of alleviate that concern of it, I won't get selected anyways. So
I can't like attest to how stressful that process was. Like not just um from a mental perspective because it is super competitive and I want that to be known as well too because not everybody, you know, can be selected to go green to gold. There's plenty of people that like we all of us who are applying are able to go onto this Facebook group, which you see constant like questions and posts like on a daily basis for people who are trying to go green to gold or people who are currently green to gold as well too. And I'd say the most important part about whether or not you want to go green to gold or not, and like if you want to pursue this, is to know the right people because like even though like you hear all this stuff about an army officer, like, yeah, they need to be physically fit, like at like their physical peak condition, right? And I have not been the most like physically capable person because I've been super injury prone since I've joined the army. And I think the most important part about my packet was uh, getting the recommendation letters from the people that you come in to work that you come in to work with. I had plenty of people like who it put me in a position where I was able to not only get some great experience uh, as a potential future army officer, but it put me in a position to work with people that would help me elevate my career to the next level, and have their recommendation to help me like achieve that. It was super helpful.
Yeah. And so what would be, do you get to pick your college that you go to, or is that mandated to you by the Army when you go green to gold?
You do get to pick your own college. There's an entire process that it, it's different with like however you want to approach it, right?
Mhm.
Like I wasn't the most confident that I was going to get into the program. However, I knew that I wanted to go to University of Maryland. So I like immediately, as soon as I put in my application for green to gold, and that was out of my hands until they made their decision, I just decided to go ahead and apply to University of Maryland, and get that out of the way. So I knew as soon, like around the same time, that like if I were selected to go green to gold, I would also know, hey, you got into University of Maryland as well too. And my chances were super favorable. Like if you have, the GPA, the test scores, and uh, the work experience, the prior work experience to help you achieve that, then I was already set, and I was super confident that I could get into University of Maryland. So that was the one I wanted to go to, and that was the one you know I stuck with.
Awesome. Yeah. And then like what's do you just are you just a college student and you're just sitting there idly by, or are you still in the army, or are you getting paid? Like what is that looking like?
So this was confusing to me at first because it was a gray area that I'm not really attached to anybody, as I mean you're attached to the ROTC command, but like you're also your main command is in Fort Knox with the Green to Gold program. Um, you are still considered active duty army, and you are like you are expected to live up to those standards as well too. I mean, you have to shave, like you have to like keep up your appearance, as well as like everything that like comes with wearing the uniform in regards to AR 670-1. Um, it's you are a student as well too, though. So I mean, there are some leniencies, like you get to wear civilians every day. It's not like you have to go to your campus with uniform like OCPs like every single day. You have to do it for the lecture. You also have to wear PTs for going to PT Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Um, and you're still expected to live up to the Army standards,
And
like
that's
I was
and that's
originally saying.
more related to like the actual ROTC program itself, right? So
Yeah, they have their own SOP that you have to, abide by as well.
okay. And then is there you said you're active duty army still, so you're getting is it everyone getting a baseline pay, like everyone that goes there is getting a E4 pay or E5 pay, or is it whatever rank that you were when you went green to gold?
Exactly. So I was very lucky to promote to sergeant prior to going green to gold. So I was able to, rank up and receive the E5 pay
Okay.
on top of BAH. That's respective to wherever your college is, but it is rank specific as you apply to the green to gold program.
Okay. So, but essentially, I mean, you have your housing taken care of. You have a pretty good paying job, or income, I should say, and then you have, I mean, you're getting to go to school and you're still staying within like the military climate per se. So you don't lose that discipline that's been instilled into you. But I mean, I have a hard time seeing any real negatives. I mean, of Green to Gold, the program itself, right? I'm sure, uh, um, everyone's situation or experience, let's say, depends on the college that they go to. Right? So,
Exactly. It's
um,
this. So I'll speak to that a little bit and a little bit more about the Green to Gold program. So like it really does depend on the school that you select. You as you apply to schools, like I would suggest that you check in with the ROTC program and ask as many questions as you possibly can to understand how like life is as an ROTC cadet. And you might not like where some schools, like some people like want the more casual experience, and there's other schools that just, they treat it like it's the army, even though like, it's not really. I say that with like, take that with a grain of salt because like, I mean, it's not like, active duty, every day you're going to work type of army.
right.
However, like going to the Green to Gold program, this is an incredible initiative by the Army to develop enlisted soldiers into future officers, and it's not to be taken lightly. Like this program provides eligible individuals that with the opportunity to complete their undergraduate or graduate education, as we talked about before, while participating in ROTC, which is like it is a confidence booster and it is to prepare you for becoming an Army officer. It's designed not only just to educate you, but to transform uh, seasoned soldiers like E4s, E5s, E6s. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a cutoff. I can't remember if there was necessarily a cutoff as to like what they expected. I know there was one for age, but I don't know if there's one for rank. Um, it's supposed to turn like those types of soldiers into highly skilled leaders that would be capable of taking on multifaceted challenges of commanding in the army. And I think that's super important to understand if you're trying to apply and get into the Green to Gold program.
Yeah, and I just, you know, the fact that you get to do the research prior to, you get to, pick your school. The Army provides all the pay and everything else. I'm with you that this is definitely a great initiative that the Army has for enlisted soldiers to take part of, especially if those that um, might be on the fence of going to school and just kind of want to join straight out, and then potentially still have it's still it's an initiative that allows them to be flexible with that, right, and then compete for this program. Um, but does anyone have any questions before I start wrapping?
I just have a couple.
Okay.
Hey, Sergeant Carter. Nice to meet you, and thank you for taking your time out to do this with us today. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Sergeant Carter.
So how long is the program? Do you have to? Is it only like a 2-year program? Is it a 4-year program? What are the stipulations?
That's a great question. So it depends on the type of degree that you go for. And since mine like was a graduate degree, you're expected to I think it's a 21-month track. And so that was, taking into account. So for me, it was like August 2023 to May 2025. It's different for if you're going for your bachelor's degree. I don't necessarily know the specifics to that. I'm assuming it's like, it encompasses that entire 4 years. Maybe a little less than like it was for the for the 2-year program, but it follows the specific form that you're supposed to put all of your classes that you would do, like from fall to spring. Like it's supposed to just you're supposed to follow this track until you graduate, and then you commission as as a second lieutenant.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. And then I have one other question for you. So I know like normal enlisted, we get to pick our job, and I know for officers, you guys have branches. So when you commission, are you able to pick your branch, or is that picked for you based on how you rank?
That is dependent on based how you rank in the overall national OML. And I am not an expert in the OML, so I can't really go into like the breakdown of the points, but it's dependent on your education, how you lead, like based on all the labs and the FTXs that we go out on, and your physical capabilities as well too. And then they put you into a national pool. We also have, and I think this is new this year, these higher view interview sessions. Now I still have yet to experience this because like this is what I'm going to be doing this summer leading up to next school year. But you pick at least 5 different branches that you would aspire to go and work for or work in, and you interview based off of the qualifications or the questions that they would then ask you, and that process of how they determine you know I guess whether they match with you or whether you match with them, like that's still unbeknownst to me though.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering my questions.
Absolutely.
I just have, 2 more questions, right? You talked about being on a specific track. Do you have to be taking classes, fall, winter, spring, summer, or do you get a break in there, at all?
So you do get a break. At least in my case, I get a break, but you're expected to go fall and then spring. You have the capability to take summer courses and winter courses as well too. I That's still like kind of a gray area for me since I haven't experienced that. However, after your so they rank, if you come in as a bachelor's student, I believe you rank in MS1. If you come in as a master's degree student, you're ranked as an MS3. And after your MS3 year, which is probably your most important year, the next summer after the school year, you go to cadet camp, which in I think is split up by regiments, and you have to go for an entire like 30 days to Fort Knox, and test your abilities to lead. Basically, what you'd learn in your MS3 year in the labs and the FTXs leading up to that.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, no, that's good to know because I was just thinking like we hear that you have to be doing it until you graduate, doing each semester, which would be a lot. But
it would be a lot, yeah, and you also have the opportunity. I'm glad you brought that, kind of alluded to this as well too, but I forget what it's called, CTLT, and it's pretty much a job shadowing experience that they allow ROTC cadets to go and experience over the summer as well too. So like I think that plays into how like what regiment you go in as like for cadet camp. But it's a nice so I've been told it's like a 3-week experience that you'd be able to go and like experience a certain branch that you'd aspire to be in. And that's pretty much like from the experience, from what I've heard from other people, it pretty much tells you whether or not you want to go into the branch that you would like most desire to be in. And like it's a crucial point where it's like, oh, I didn't like my experience here and what I saw, I'm gonna choose this branch instead. It's just a
yeah,
huge focal point.
and then I mean, just to finish this up, any other questions? Now, just finish this up. Like, what would be some advice that you could give, high school students or high school or college students about wanting to join, right?
The Army just in general, or green to
Yeah,
gold?
the Army and we'll go with green to gold.
Okay. So transitioning from enlisted to officer, is a path of personal and professional growth. Is about more than changing just roles. It's about amplifying one's ability to lead and inspire. And through the Green to Gold program, I am not only aiming to further my education, but also to enhance my leadership qualities to serve better and lead our soldiers towards achieving organizational goals. And I think it's another reason why I decided to go with this program is it allows you to gain, not real world experience, but like an experience where you're in a position to lead.
Mhm.
And this is super important because like you don't know how your Army career is going to pan out. And this experience helps you gain that, like, those skills and, like just qualities in general that will help transition, make the transition in your post-Army career.
Yeah.
So the Army sets you up for success is ultimately what it boils down to.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We all appreciate you spending, taking this time out to, answer some questions about Green to Gold. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next time, man.
Absolutely, Sergeant Chapman. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course.